Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Professor Santosh Nandal. In this video, we will discuss environmental degradation and how environmental degradation affecting society as well as economy and what can be the solution of this problem. So, we will discuss all these things in today's video. What is environmental degradation? Environmental degradation is a result of socio-economic, technological and institutional activities. Degradation occurs when earth natural resources are depleted. These resources which are affected that may include. So, what we can say? We can say that environmental degradation is a result of socio-economic and technological changes, and because of this technological changes the resources are depleted. And which are these resources? These are the natural resources. Or what are these natural resources? These natural resources are water, air, soil, and this beside all these three, water, air and soil, the degradation also impacts our wildlife, plants, animals and microorganisms. So, all these important because water is very important for a person, because 70% of our body that keeps water. Air is also because if we do not take breath, we can't survive. Soil that gives our food and the other things for survival. How environmental degradation occurs? Environmental changes are based on many factors. What are these factors? Number one, urbanization. Urbanization is one of the biggest cause because unplanned colonies are constructed, or the people they are shifting from rural to urban areas, and if the government does not have any planning of it, it puts a pressure on that area, and because of that pressure, so that occurs lots of the hazardous things, and that creates an environmental or that add into environmental degradation. Population explosion, because whenever economy starts to progress, then some industries, some or you can say agricultural sector that is also developed, and because of that some services also upgraded, service sector is also increasing, and because of that the people they are getting jobs in their hands. So, they do feel that if population takes place, so there will be no any problem for the survival of that person. So, a population explosion that also becomes one of the biggest cause of environmental degradation. Intensification of agriculture. How does it? Because the agriculture हम कहते हैं ना कि धरती माता, because if you are putting lots of the load on the agriculture or on the soil or land, so what will be happening? So, that is where making the excessive or the misuse of that sector, and when that agriculture is making the excessive use of that sector, so what will be happening? So, we are using different chemical fertilizers or other pesticides, so that creates such kind of problem and adds to the environmental degradation. Increase in use, because as maybe the population explosion, maybe because of urbanization, maybe some industrial development, maybe for the agricultural development. So, if there is a use of, certainly it will increase. So, increase in use of energy, that also adding to environmental degradation. Increase in transportation. If you are going to the background history of our country, you will find that the vehicles or the transportation facilities, so as well as the population will be increasing, that also requires more and more transportation facility. If the government wants to increase the industrial development, that also needs the transportation facilities. So, because of that lots of the smoke and other things that takes place, and that add to environmental degradation. High quantity of exhaust gases, because specifically in developing country the such kind of mechanism is not made. So, the hazardous gases, so there can be the let out of these gases, so that can be incorporated in the other forms of things, so which cannot give the losses to the society as well as to economy. So, high quantity of the exhaust gases, that is also adding to environmental degradation. Secondary pollutants, if you can see the examples of the kitchen, or sometime the women they are using for cooking foods, using wood, lakdi, because they don't have such kind of the facility. So, that is also secondary things, not the natural, but the secondary pollutants activity, that is also creates some environmental degradation. Even in agriculture sector, pesticide, chemical fertilizers, so that is also using or adding environmental degradation in the country. High number of industries such as mining. So, if the mining is not done in a planned way, if their high number of the industries are increasing, so what will be happening? So, that will create environmental degradation. Chemical effluents also, because of the use of chemicals, maybe in science or other some research and development activities. If more and more use of the chemicals that will be taking place, their uses, so that will also adding environmental degradation in the country or in the economy. Unplanned land use policies, because in the developing country, if you will see that the policies for the land use are not properly planned. If that will not be planned properly, urbanization that will be to take, unplanned colonies that will be taking place, and that is using or if such kind of the policy, if there is no deforestation, ज़्यादा पेड़ों को नहीं काटा जाता है, so if such kind of facility will be available, so that will helping to degrade, to reduce such kind of, which is adding to degradation of environment. Otherwise, environmental degradation that will be increase. Now, we will see effects of major environmental problems on health and productivity. So, what the major problems the people, the human population that is facing, or in the environment, what kind of the problem we are facing. So, water pollution and the water scarcity. If you see specifically see in agriculture sector, by using more and more agriculture under rice, so that is because it requires more water, that crop, and that is creating the water scarcity problem. Water, that also pollution, that is also keeping the problem of the deterioration of the health of the people. This is the biggest the people they can face. Air pollution, because people they cannot take breathe in clean air. So, air pollution, that is also one of the problems. So, that create a health problem to people. Solid and the hazardous waste, specifically industries on the other areas, if these solid and the hazardous waste, if they are not used properly, so that creates the environmental major problem. Soil degradation, because by using of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and the fertility of the soil, that is continuously declining. So, soil degradation, that is a major environmental problem, which specifically in India we are facing today. Deforestation, because when development is taking place, transportation facilities, other facilities, industrialization or service sector, when it will be increasing. So, deforestation, cutting of trees. So, trees are cut, so that help for the air, by adding the good air, if there is a more and more tree, because they are converting carbon dioxide oxide into oxygen. So, deforestation, that is also one of the, that is creating environmental major problems. Loss of biodiversity. Biodiversity means because the connectivity between the natural and the other sector of the country. What will be happening? Some species which are requires for that. So, the biodiversity, that is will be lost, and that becomes one of the cause of the major environmental problems. Atmospheric changes. Nowadays, we are also suffering because of the biggest problem which we are facing because of the major environmental problem, ki diversity, the loss of besides loss of diversity, atmospheric changes that is taking place in our country, and because of these atmospheric changes, seasons are changing, and when the seasons will be changing, so what will be, that will also affect on agricultural sector and the other sectors of country also. what can be the some suggestions we can give for environmental degradation, afforestation? Because environmental, that can only be protected if we are making the recycle of it, or we are making the regenerating of that resources. So afforestation we used in the last one, that is about the we were talking about the deforestation, the afforestation. So by planting more and more trees, so that can be a solution. The people, they can be initiated to plant more and more trees nearby roads, or in their houses, or near to in the parks or the other areas. So afforestation by planting more trees, so that can be the recycling of, or these the resources, they are the renewable, that can be renewed, that can be generated. Mixed crops of the crop rotation, because we were talking about the water losses. So if mixed crops and the crop rotation, that will be there, then the uses of water, that will be less, and there will be less scarcity of water, and there will be the less chemical fertilizers that will be used in that, pesticides less will be used in that. So that will also help, और that will be helpful to for the health of the people, because जिसको मोटे अनाज की बात करते हैं, mixed crops. Drip irrigation without a sprinkle, just you can say that sprinkling method, drip irrigation scheme that can be used, so water loss that can be avoided. So that can helpful for the one of the solution for the environmental degradation. Stocking of your land. Stocking of your land means land that can be if the land will be that we scattered at the different places, so it is requiring the more resources for cultivation of that land. So if such kind of the consolidation of land holding, so if that will be done, scattered the land that will be at the one or two places, so that will be also help for the solution to environmental degradation. Purchase recycled products. So recycled products must be purchased, so that can be recycled, and the people, they must be informative, they must be such kind of information. So these products that can be used for the recycle, जिसको दोबारा उसका use किया जा सकता है, and that can not create the problem to the environmental degradation, and that can become solution to environmental degradation. Conserve water. Water can be conserved. Rain water है, अदर वाटर विच इज़ द लॉस ऑफ वाटर. यदि हम कंजर्व उसको सहेज कर रखते हैं, वाटर को कंजर्व करते हैं, इकट्ठा करके व्हेन द टाइम ऑफ नीड वी कैन यूज़ इट. सो दैट इज़ आल्सो वन ऑफ द सोल्यूशन टू एनवायरमेंटल डिग्रेडेशन. Conserve energy. Energy, if you see in some education institutions or some places, when you are away off lights, so when there is a need of that use of energy, you use it. तो conserve energy, energy को भी सहेज कर रखना है. So that can also helpful for the solution to environmental degradation. Be an advocate to save our planet. So you must be an advocate of yourself. So you should have to, don't think about the government will come or anybody will come to your door or some informative mechanism must be there. You must be aware of that, because environment is very important for your survival, for the survival of a person, for survival of human being. We need a good water, good air, clean air, good environmental weather conditions. So that will be the growth of that person. So हमें अपने planet को बचाने के लिए खुद का ही advocate बनना पड़ेगा, so that we will be able to save environment. We can opt because nowadays also government doing lots of effort on the go green, out for sustainable, the renewable way of livings. How can your life can be sustained? So we don't have any scarcity of resources in the future. How these resources can be renewable? So we must have to be look upon that. And these are one for green for your lifestyle, using good air, water, good environmental weather conditions, are for reducing such kind of the pollutive activities, reusing the renewable resources, so that can be we can reuse that product. So recycling, so they can be recycled again, they can be अदर काइंड ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट्स, जैसे प्लास्टिक है, प्लास्टिक से प्लेट्स बनाना, जैकेट्स बनाना, इस टाइप के जो चीज़ें हैं वो, इफ़ सच काइंड ऑफ द इनोवेटिव आइडियाज़ दैट विल बी देयर, सो दैट विल बी हेल्पफुल फॉर द सस्टेनिंग ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट. Because of that, because sometimes the developing country, they are also blaming to developed countries for the degradation of the environment of their countries. And because now we are also a globalized economy, and sometimes these ineffective international policies, that is also also creating such kind of the environmental pollutant in our country. और this जो ineffective environment policy हैं, so they keep environment in a critical state with carbon dioxide level rising out of control. It is predicted that the Earth's temperature will increase by not now 11 degree, that is will also be increase more than the 11 degrees also, because if you see in summer the temperature is increasing more than 40 and the winter is also that is coming down. So international policy, if that will be effective, so that can be helpful for sustaining environment. So thank you very much, and go green, this is a best policy for that, and that will be helpful for sustaining and saving environment, and if the environment will sustain, we will also survive. So thank you very much. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe my channel, and please share this video.